Since we last spoke to Johannes Roux, founder of the alcohol-free drinks company, the Duchess, it has received investment from Rand Merchant Bank as well as ABInBev's corporate venture capital arm, ZX Venture. During this time, the Duchess also expanded its range. It now includes alcohol-free wine spritzers. The Duchess is now available in 7 countries, including South Africa, the Netherlands, Belgium, Australia, and the UK. In this episode, Johannes shares how he ended up in New York, pitching his business to the ABInBev board, including the all-powerful chairman, Carlos Brito. Let's welcome Johannes Roux to the show. My name is Holger Meyer, and this is DrinksWorld. Welcome to the show, and today our guest is Johannes Roux from the Duchess, and we've spoken to you before, Johannes, but it's been nearly 4 or 5 years since you started this whole Duchess journey.
Hi, Helga. It's great to be back on the show. Yeah, it's about 5 years ago, I think, you helped us set up our initial distribution from scratch. We didn't know who to speak to, and you were our first consultant.
Yeah, and that I wish I'd get more calls like that, because that really, really fills my bucket, hey?
Yeah, no, well, it worked well, and we're still working with quite a few of the original partners you set us up with.
Okay.
It was worth it.
Yeah, one of the guys that I introduced you to was Rob Haynes from Yuppie Chef in those days. Remember that?
Yes. Yes, I remember.
And when I last looked, I think Yuppie Chef was doing really well for you. Is that still the case?
Yeah, we did do very well. I think at the start, especially when you're launching a new brand and you don't have the availability across your key accounts. But we had a lot of demand in that first year. I think at one point we were the number one selling product on Yuppie Chef. We sold over 1,000 cases one night. So that is crazy. We're not doing that anymore because now you can find the Duchess almost anywhere. But Yuppie Chef is still a great client of ours, and we still love working with them. We did a campaign with them a while back where you could win with our spritzers that we launched, where you could win a Smeg fridge, and that did very well.
I can imagine. That's right up the alley, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So let's just for people that don't know your story, you started way back with your first brand was Brannas, which you launched as the first craft brandy in South Africa.
Yeah, brandy and Coke on tap.
Yeah, and that was fun.
That was a lot of fun. It's still going. We ended up selling that business to our number one client.
Okay.
That I think they sold over 1 million drafts of Brannas over the years. And when we decided we're going to focus more on our new ventures, we went straight to them. The guys from the Green now own the Brannas draft brand, and they're doing amazing stuff with it.
Oh, that's such a good idea to sell it to your biggest client.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then you started this wonderful journey of with the Duchess, and it's really been spectacular what you've done with it and how you came up with it. And I want to encourage our listeners to go back and maybe listen to the first episode we did. But yeah, just maybe tell us a little bit about the early days, how you started and how you came up with the ideas.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, back in 2016, I was looking for a new venture. KWV came on board with Brannas. So I decided it's time for a brand that I can. The idea was something that can scale globally, so something that can go bigger than South Africa. And I went to visit a friend of mine in the Netherlands, really looking to find what's new in alcohol, right? Like, because I was just coming out of this alcohol business, found it really fun. I was still young. I was I think I was 25 years old, 26 years old, and basically went to Amsterdam to do surveys with people in bars and restaurants, and obviously tried to come up with the next big thing. And interestingly enough, the more people I spoke to about alcohol, the more people were saying, listen, I'm actually trying to cut back on alcohol. I'm reducing my alcohol intake. And one of the other big trends at that time, and it was the same in South Africa, I'd seen it, is this boom in gin and tonic. So, in South Africa, the amount of craft gin distilleries at that time was incredible. So I came back with the idea of sort of joining these two trends together and say, well, I've never seen anything like it, but let's launch the world's first alcohol-free gin and tonic. I didn't quite realize the demand for a product like that. And obviously this was before, Heineken 0.0. This was before there was anything like an alcohol-free drinks category. And I think we were one of the pioneers at that time. But that said, it's still early days for alcohol-free drinks, and there's still a lot of people that I meet on a daily basis that say they've never heard of the Duchess or they've never heard of an alcohol-free gin tonic, and that's, of course, a big opportunity for us.
Yeah, it's a
still in the future.
Massive opportunity, and that was all before lockdown, so people didn't even know what the word lockdown meant in those days.
Exactly. Yeah.
But before we get to lockdown, a lot of exciting things happened, and I remember briefly, and I don't know if I'm jumping the gun now, but you told me that you had to fly to New York.
Yes.
Is that kind of the order in which things happened? This thing exploded, and next thing you were catching a plane to New York.
Yeah, there was a few steps in between. So first year that went very well for the Duchess. I think we sold just over 1 million units in that first year. So the first year has been, it's probably the best growth I've seen in a beverage product. But as things grow and things do get more complicated, but especially with international launches, so we started getting quite a lot of interest from international markets, including Australia, the UK, the Netherlands, and Belgium. We started launching these markets. So we currently sell the Duchess through Dan Murphy's and BWS in Australia, through Albert Heijn and Jumbo in the Netherlands, and then Del Hayes in Belgium, and then we're also available on Amazon in the UK. So that we kind of built that international market space. It's almost like launching a new business in every market. Country. So it was quite a big step. But we started seeing traction, and I was actually on holiday. My wife had a conference in New York, and she bought me a ticket to join her for Valentine's Day, actually. So I just said, okay, great. I'm going to New York, and one of my friends, he's also a shareholder in the Duchess, Stefan. He always said, if you go to New York, just go there with a plan. If you go to New York and you don't have like a vision or something to do there, the people will literally walk over you. So it is. So I kind of I went a bit earlier while she was doing her conference, and I said, let's go and speak to some people in New York about this product, the Duchess, and ended up getting an introduction to ZX Ventures. That's the innovation and growth arm of ABInBev. They were still quite early stage at that time as well. I think they were about 3 years old. So I met up with one of their beverage fund managers, and we kind of hit it off. After that, they invited me to come back and to pitch to their head of non-alcoholic drinks, which they had just actually employed, because before that, obviously, ABInBev was very focused on on beer specifically, but they're in the process of rebranding as a beverage company. And they obviously had heard quite a bit of this alcohol-free drinks category, and they were excited to partner with the Duchess. The one more thing at the end, they even gave me an opportunity to pitch directly to the CEO of ABInBev at that time, called his name's Brito, and I think that was really like a career highlight.
I can imagine.
It was like, well, I also like almost shut my pants. It's like the number one sort of beverage CEO in the world, and his top 7 like presidents, each from each zone, and I get to do a 20-minute presentation, and they're sitting there at 11 o'clock in the morning drinking gin and tonic. So it was quite an experience. But yeah, they ended up investing or backing the Duchess, and it's been a really great journey with them as strategic partners since then.
And so what does it mean if they back you? Obviously, they've set up this venture fund, ZX Ventures, to obviously explore new opportunities for the beer company. But what does it mean if they back you?
So I think there are two sides to it. One, of course, is capital. So we were at a point where we were growing quite fast, and as a growing business, you require, especially in beverage business, and I'm sure your clients that own beverage companies, or sorry, your listeners that have beverage company knows the amount of capital you need to run a beverage company. So that's something that we needed, and they invested capital in the business. But as sort of beverage specialists, ZX, almost all of ZX actually come from ABI. So they all have years of experience in launching brands. They've got in-depth understanding of almost every market in the world, beverage market in the world. And of course, they're quite strong, like South Africa, extremely strong with their acquisition of the SAB. So yeah, they become a strategic partner through consultancy, and they've got basically got like a seat on our board. So we can ask them, and we strategize with them and work with them. And then as we grow, the idea is to start integrating into their sales and distribution, which we've also done. Recently started doing in South Africa.
Okay, I saw during lockdown that there was a co-packing with Castle Zero or Castle Free,
yes.
Whatever it's called. Was that one of those things where you could leverage this relationship?
Exactly. Yes. So we have access to as sort of partners of part of the portfolio, or the same family, like they call. Say at ABI, we were able to negotiate that collaboration with the brand manager of Castle Free, and that's exactly the type of strategic advantages that we've received. And and into the future, I mean, as the business grows, ZX Ventures is set up to fully integrate the business in the future. So that's also part of the sort of journey that we walk with them.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit like Shark Tank, except that I don't always believe what I see on Shark Tank.
Yeah, no, it is definitely like fundraising is I don't know what's crazier, Shark Tank or the actual fundraising. And like especially during a pandemic, I can tell you that like I generally come across a little bit better face to face.
Yeah.
Then I'm a tall guy, so I make a good first impression. But like over Zoom, none of that works for me in my favor. So it's been quite a process pitching over Zoom instead of flying to New York to go pitch in person. But it's we've managed to get through it. It's like I said, it's quite a roller coaster. I think we were definitely lucky that we were able to operate during the lockdowns, but it still came with quite a lot of unsureties.
Yeah. So this kind of fundraising, does it mean that you locked into their system, or do you still have to go out and look for other funding as well?
So they become a partner. So they become a partner as part of our business, and every fundraising round, the partners have the option to follow their rights and basically continue to support the company. But we're also able to go to external parties to find different sort of strategic advantages. So that's where sort of our latest round with RMB came in. We said we've got a great strategic partner. We're the founders, the sort of passionate, driven team, and what we're looking for is also a strategic financial partner that we can leverage into the future. So I think we've got almost a trifecta, which is from a partnerships perspective, I don't think we could have done any better. But it's so we're set up now for the next phase.
Okay. Measure when you could actually integrate into the ABInBev stable.
So there are benchmarks.
Yeah.
So it would generally be revenue benchmarks and stuff. I can't go into too much detail, but it would be revenue benchmarks, but also other proof points, signals of quality and things like that. So we'll we're working with them to find the best structure as a potential trade investor, but also as investors in the current business. Yeah. So that's what I think is really great about them having a ZX and an ABI, is the ZX becomes they're a venture capital firm, so they become a partner, and they really look at what's the best for the business as an investment from ZX side, and not just what's the best for ABI.
Okay. And I mean, obviously a beverage business is cash flow negative. The faster you grow and the bigger you grow, the less money or more capital you need, and I'm sure you're an expert at that. But so has the growth been consistent? You say your best year was your first year. How? I mean, these.
No. I think our fastest growth. So obviously we have been growing year on year every year. 2021 was our biggest year, because as we open up new markets, we do open up new opportunities, and then of course that I think that alcohol ban at the end of 2020, start of 2021, really helped.
Yeah. So are you mainstream in all the supermarkets, accept and understand the non-alcoholic category much better after the alcohol bans, I assume?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. We do have quite a lot of work ahead of us, because when we launched the Duchess, it was seen as a liquor product, so something that you would see in a liquor store, where with the alcohol bans, obviously the liquor stores were closed, and now the biggest sort of section, or the future of alcohol-free drinks, really does look like it'll be more on the grocer side. So now we're building relationships to either move over our product or to actually live in both liquor and the grocer side.
I once heard, I think it was the local CEO of ABInBev say, if they invest in a category, it's good for the industry. It's not a threat. And I think it was when they launched a Weiss beer, they said to the other Weiss beer brewers, we'll grow the market, and that'll be good for everyone. And I assume it's the same when Heineken and ABInBev launched their non-alcoholic beers, and people like Savannah, it must have grown the market. Or what was your experience?
No, it has definitely grown the market, and just I think the awareness around alcohol-free drinks. Like I said, when we launched back in 2016, I don't think there was a category. We were part of we started printing alcohol-free drinks category things that we would go put into stores, because they were a little bit behind on that. But now, I mean, almost every almost every store has an alcohol-free drinks category. In South Africa, I must tell you, is actually one of the most advanced in retail in that sector. Some of the other countries are still struggling a bit. They don't know where exactly to position it, and some of them have alcohol-free drinks, but they'll be next to the actual beers and the wines. They won't have it their own category, so that does complicate things. But as the category grows and as more entrants come into the market, it does consolidate. And I think there is truth in that. But I must say that it has already become a lot more competitive. So I think it's especially if you start looking at it from a pricing point of view. So obviously, the bigger entrants are able to price the products much lower. So from that perspective, we do still need to compete, and we're working on a few plans. I think our biggest focus for this year is to get our cost down. It's we've recently interviewed 750 of our clients, and the biggest feedback we received was, well, number one, that people really do like the product and they like the taste. they see a future in it. But number two, if we were able to price it slightly lower, they'd be able to buy it more often, which just makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's a big focus for us.
Okay, and that does make sense. And the overseas markets, if they need any help with growing their non-alcoholic category, we can send Mrs. Zuma and the Command Council to them for a few months, and that'll sort them out.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, it was an interesting time, like I said, because on the one side you've got all of a sudden you've got a sales surge. Because people, the retailers are looking for alternatives to alcohol, but on the other hand, there's also a lot of uncertainty about when are you able to fundraise again. And like you say, the more you have to produce, the more pressure there is on your cash flow. But I think it's almost like if you made it through the pandemic to this point, everyone that's made it through as a small business or early stage business under 5 years should give themselves a big clap of hands, because it hasn't been easy for anyone. And it's been quiet, but it looks like things are definitely calming down a bit. So that's good.
Yeah. So what has been the biggest challenge since joining the ZX group? Has there been anything that they required from you that you wouldn't have thought of yourself?
Wouldn't really say that there's been an increased challenge in a way. So what's also great about it is that we still have the controlling stake, and we control the business and control the brand, and they come on board as a support structure. So I think there's been more challenges with regards to the category and competition and just all out sort of confusion during the pandemic than there's necessarily been with any of our partners. Okay. I've actually been able to give us some good perspective and context.
So what it looked like to me initially, there were just so many new non-alcoholic brands, and I obviously didn't get a chance to try all of them. That launched, and you think, from Savannah to Hunters and many, many more, it just seemed like it was too good to be true for the non-alcoholic category, that people can, that you can make a product overnight. But I guess that's a special skill of a big company. They can actually, they probably can't move as fast as you can, but they can, they've got the resources and the skills to come up with new product ideas.
Yeah, exactly. And I think sometimes very likely they'd been working on these projects before lockdown, but just obviously realized they need to speed it up when they had focus. But it's the catch-22 of the alcohol-free category at the moment is it's super fast growing, but in total, it's actually still very small.
Okay.
So I think that's why. Yeah, that's why you only really saw them pop up during lockdown, because it was like a hedge, right, against lockdown. But in total, it'll still take a while for the category to grow, and there's a lot of education and awareness that needs to happen. And I think it's really about understanding how the consumers are going to think about alcohol-free drinks in the future, because what's interesting about alcohol-free drinks for me personally is that obviously people that drink alcohol-free versions of alcoholic drinks are alcohol drinkers, right? So because if you're drinking a non-alcoholic gin and tonic or non-alcoholic wine or beer, you probably like the taste or have drank the alcoholic version of it. So I think in the future there'll be so it's great to have that choice, and I think that makes a lot of sense, and that's why we're seeing a lot of alcoholic brands like Savannah, Heineken, and Castle doing well with their non-alcoholic counterparts, because you're giving choice to your customer. And then, but I think beyond that, I think there'll be a whole new generation of drinkers that just never drink alcohol, and the flavors and the sort of functional blends and whatever it'll be will be just completely sort of beyond alcohol and probably have no reference to alcohol. So the alcohol-free category will be more like an adult non-alcoholic category in the future.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I see it with the youngsters now. I mean, a lot of them don't even, they've never had alcohol when they get out of school, which wasn't the case when we were young. So they don't. You're right. It's a different path altogether. And what is that the trend overseas?
Yeah, you see. So the fastest growing, I think, the biggest segment of non-alcohol drinkers are your Gen Z, so like your youngest group, and I think we could expect that trend to continue. I mean, the same reason people are cutting down on alcohol is the same reason youngsters just decide never to start drinking alcohol. People have become much more conscious about the negative effects of alcohol. I mean, like we used to laugh at a babalas, but now you realize, okay, actually maybe a babalas means that this thing is making me sick, or it's like it's not good for my health, or at least I shouldn't be drinking too much of it. And I think that there's a lot of I think it's the modern life is crazy enough as it is, and the youngsters just decide it's not worth drinking too much on top of that. And there's a lot of it's very competitive. You need to do well, drinking like this whole. I spoke at the UK soft drink conference a while ago, when we still had conferences, and I had this whole thing of like, when I grew up, it was like the whole thing was party hard, work hard. But I think like that's completely number one, doesn't make sense. I don't know who can party hard and then work hard and then the other one. And I think like the new generation just kind of saw right through that. And they're opting for completely different type of drinks. I mean, you get like this boom of seltzers in the US. You get boom of functional drinks, active ingredients. Get like brands like Liquid Death, which I think is a brilliant sort of beyond alcohol-free drink, which is literally just sparkling water in a can, but it's branded like a beer. Yeah. It looks like a beer. Okay. It's amazing. Yeah, they built that brand in 3 years to $500 million turnover valuation. That's incredible.
It is, eh? So it's all about perception, and you don't want to be seen as they made water cool. Yeah. And the whole non-alcoholic spirits category, what have you seen in that category? Has that worked?
I'm very much in two minds. I didn't think that it was gonna go as far as it has. I think there are some great brands out there that are doing well, and I think I know friends of mine and family of mine that love it. You know, they buy a bottle of abstinence or seedlip, and they actually enjoy mixing that with whatever tonic they like, and I think that plays into that whole concept of choice, and you can it's more flexible. I, for one, always thought it's just a little bit too much work for people to now create alcohol-free cocktails at home, and I would much rather offer somebody a ready-to-drink version of that. And you'll see that most of the alcohol, the alcohol-free spirits are now also launching ready-to-drink versions. So I think that's interesting. I think what say like Liars or something is doing, I'm still to be proven. It's still to be proven for me. I think they're obviously growing extremely fast, and they are raising a lot of capital. I'm actually interested to see how that all turns out. But yeah, I don't think the Duchess will be launching an alcohol-free spirit anytime soon.
Yeah. What trends have you identified that that you're keeping an eye on?
So I do like with the launch of the wine spritzers, I do like alcohol-free wine. I think it's a much bigger category, and I don't think it's being done very well in the past. So I think it shouldn't really be seen as alcohol-free wine that you should be doing, but I'm more interested in wine alternatives, and I think that's we do have a great product on the market with the wine spritzer. We just need to get our distribution up and get our awareness up, because people obviously identified the Duchess as an alcohol-free gin and tonic. We've done very well with branding it like that. Now we need to tell people we've also got a wine spritzer. But so I think go try the wine spritzer. And then other opportunities. At the moment, we're very much focused on going deeper in the market and really trying to understand our customer better and trying to offer them a better service, and not necessarily like just new product development the whole time. But like I said, we're focusing on our pack sizes, on our packaging, and getting the price down, so we can basically open up the Duchess to a bigger audience by making it more sort of affordable.
Yeah. Have you kept up? Have you had a look at something different pack sizes or cans for that matter, or does that not?
Yeah. So we're looking into cans at this stage. So I think cans are very much the future, just even from a sustainability perspective, not just the actual can that is 100% recyclable, but also saving on weight for shipments, and a bigger focus on D2C. Cans just really make sense for the future. So we're currently looking into cans quite seriously, but it's the multiple options.
Okay. What really blew my mind was when that Castle Light launched in that, I think it was a 440 ml can. So instead of it was a slim can or a smart can. They got all these different names or terms for them, but it looked really sexy to me, and I thought that that would have been something that could have fitted your brand.
Yeah, no, exactly. We've got some. Sure, Ines is obviously like an incredible designer, so he did some mock-ups of cans, and I almost like them more than the bottles. So they're really sexy, and slim cans are. I definitely think it'll work well, and there's a lot of advantages. I personally buy a lot of rather buy cans at the moment too, because it like chills very quickly. Like you don't have a problem with like the cap coming loose or anything. So yeah, I think there's been quite a lot of sort of. I don't think the South African market was ready for cans, and they also never printed the cans so beautifully. Now I think technology and everything came right at the same time, and realizing the sustainability, what they're more focused on sustainability, and I think and we're able to actually reduce the price because of that as well, because you don't need a bottle with 3 labels and a cap. You just have one can that's printed.
Yeah. I had an interview with the guys from Tiny Keg this week, and although the craft beer market is much smaller than they anticipated, but it's certainly a lot more vibrant and exciting than in a bottle.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think they're very well positioned, and I think they've just opened up their like a bigger facility with a bigger canning line, right? So I think that's a good move.
Yeah. Johannes, you were involved in the launch of a CBD water called Dope. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So Dope was actually developed by the Duchess originally. Okay. So it is so it's a product that really, like I said earlier, I think the future of alcohol-free drinks is this sort of beyond alcohol concept. Yeah. And the new generation won't necessarily, if they never drank beer or gin and tonic or wine, why would they now opt for a non-alcoholic wine or beer? So we said, okay, well, the new generation would like something completely different. And we came like part of going to New York the whole time. I saw this trend in CBD drinks, and we in collaboration with my co-founder Andrew Davenport in Dope, we launched that product in 2019, I think, like 2 months before lockdown. It was also like quite an interesting time to launch a new brand. But I think Dope is definitely on a good trajectory. Got good partners now. We were able to externalize it from the Duchess for a bunch of reasons. But now, I think now the two. What's nice is there's a lot of learnings from the one to the other one. So it's constantly it gives you quite a bit of perspective looking at it from both sides the whole time.
Okay, Johannes, I saw that during lockdown or the liquor lockdown, you tried to do a whole lot of activations and direct to consumer campaigns. How hard is that, or how successful were those?
I think, well, especially with what we were doing with Dope at that time, because it was so early in the launch of Dope that we hadn't had time to get like a lot of listings in. So obviously with the Duchess we had listings and we were able to move our stock from the liquor to the grocer. So Duchess was doing really well, but Dope hadn't gotten any listings and there were no sales reps allowed in stores and no tastings or anything. So we had to be innovative with how we get to our customers, and we launched with a text your dealer campaign, a big billboard in the center of Cape Town that just said text your dealer with an image of the Dope can and a number, and then there was a chat bot on WhatsApp that you could place an order directly on WhatsApp and have it delivered to your door. But that took about 2 to 3 days for a delivery. So we said, well, that's still a little bit too long. The future is like this instant delivery. And I think it was quite innovative. Dope was the first sort of retail or brand to launch on Uber Eats. Okay. So we created a digital corner store on Uber Eats. So you could, if you were inside Cape Town, we had multiple points. Like if you're anywhere in Cape Town, you could go onto our Uber Eats store or just go directly from Instagram to Uber Eats and have cold Dope delivered to your door within 15 minutes. Wow! So that's quite a cool concept. And if you think about it, Uber takes 20% margin, which a lot of people say is a lot. But if you go look at what the retailers take and distributors take, it's actually, and it's instant delivery. It's actually a really great model. The only thing, you're limited to like that, 5 to 7 kilometer radius.
Yeah, and obviously you have to create a demand, which could be a challenge.
Yeah, but with digital media these days, I think there is a lot of opportunity with that. I think, like, so if you're looking at instant delivery, what's happening in Europe and the US, I think we're going to see some of those brands like Gorillas and GoPuff and these guys launching all over the world soon. But yeah, I mean, well, what we've got in South Africa, which is amazing, is 60/60, of course. But yeah, Gorillas and GoPuff, you can order any grocery item, any liquor product, any sort of beverage, and it's delivered within 30 minutes to your door. So it's going to be the retail landscape is going to change quite drastically. I mean, just the amount of people ordering through Takealot nowadays. Beverages and Takealot never used to be a thing. But post-pandemic, I think Takealot is one of our top sellers at Duchess.
Yeah. And I think Spar is also launching the online delivery now. I don't know if it's too late. Pick n Pay has obviously done theirs. Yeah, I think that's where it's heading, and it kind of gives you different opportunities to launch, because even without building a big infrastructure, you can or a dealer network, you can launch new products if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think they can give, obviously, I think they could, with Takealot, for instance, anybody has the opportunity to reach any customer in South Africa. You don't need to wait for a listing with a major retailer or whatever. So if you've got something that people want and you can speak to your client base, they can order it, and yeah, Takealot literally delivers anywhere in South Africa for cheaper than I think anyone can do it. We're seeing more and more actually Takealot as a potential distributor to clients, so to on-consumption clients all around the country, because, I mean, you can just courier directly to them instead of having this sort of 3-phase distribution system. Just either get it directly to a client or directly to a restaurant. So it's all positive. I think in the end, it's all positive for brand owners and for customers, and because it gives the retailers less of a monopoly, I suppose, on the whole system.
Thank you, Johannes. Just lastly, so what are you focusing on for the rest of the year?
And we're keen to get really involved with our customers this year. We're keen to speak more directly with our customers, sell more directly to our customers, and I think and really to see how far we can take this alcohol-free drinks category, and just continue building.
Yeah, my personality is always asking what if, and the one thing I want to ask is, what about bitter?
I love product development. I love brand development, but sometimes what the business needs is just volume and growth. And I think that's also, you can also innovate within that space. So I think we want to grow our consumer base in South Africa, really win in South Africa in the alcohol-free category.
Johannes, thanks very much. It's exciting, and I wish I could have been a fly on the wall in that boardroom in New York. And very well done to you and your team. Just as a reminder, where can people find you online?
You can go to www.drinktoduchess.com, or you could buy directly on Takealot. Thank you very much, Holger.
That's how the world has changed. Just go to Takealot and buy it.
Yes, exactly. It's easier.
Thank you for listening to our stories here online. In the show notes, you will also find a link where you can subscribe to become part of our community and be notified when we upload our latest content.